So, you guys ready? Okay. So I'm just gonna talk real quick about so I gave you a base project with all like the settings set up, and I'm gonna talk real quick about what I did. So there's this thing called a pod file, and if you put them in a project like an Xcode project, it allows you to incorporate third-party frameworks and libraries. So we can add things like AF networking, which lets us do URL requests really easy. And the whole purpose of this workshop is to make an application where we can load contents from this API called MovieDB. So it lets us grab the current movies in. So here's what the pod file looks like. It's pretty straightforward. It says use frameworks and then pod AF networking. You run pod install, and is that better? All right. Yeah, you run pod install, and it gives you two things right here. You have your Xcode project and your XE workspace. So both can let you develop. The XE workspace is a little different in that it lets you easily work with the frameworks that you're working with. So if you go to Facebook, I just dropped the link in to the Facebook event. So just click that link. It should bring you, that's not it. It should bring you here. And then all you have to do is go to download and hit download zip. So the Facebook event, the link in the event for this event, and then just download the zip. So once you download it, you should see Workshop 2 start, and that's what we're going to use. I'll let you guys kind of do that. So as soon as you're good to go. So like I said, I only just put the pod file in and allowed I set everything up so that you could use the third-party frameworks.
Wait, so what can you use pod files
for? A pod file is like you just say which dependencies and which frameworks you need, and then as soon as you do a pod install, it goes and it always grabs from that repo and updates the frameworks in your project.
So you can do like plugins and stuff with it, basically?
It's kind of like plugins, but it's more so tools that other people have used that you can take advantage of. Yeah.
Is it an API?
It's not an API. An API is what we're going to work with. Okay, does everyone have that? The project downloaded and everything? Okay, cool. So you're going to open XE workspace, so Workshop 2 start. Double click on the workspace. It should not open to this. It should open to something much nicer. There it is. Okay. Workshop 2 start, and then open the .xe workspace. It should be the white one. Workshop 2 start. Start.
Can you go through it again?
Yeah. So you should see, once you download it, you should see Workshop 1, Workshop 2, and Workshop 2 start. So Workshop 2 is the finished version, and it has asynchronous calls so that you can cache images as you're going, so it makes it much more efficient. And then XE workspace. All right, we good? Okay, cool. So you should see this. It's the same thing as before. You have your file directory on the left, and you have Storyboard, which is what we're going to work with. So if you go to Storyboard, click on the which iPhone you want to use, and click on the SC. So the second one down here. Whose thing does not look like that? Like, who does not have this section? Okay, cool. So he's on Xcode 7.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got it. I just
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a table view on our view controller. So if you go on the far right to the objects and type table, you should see the second one, which is a table view, so just a list of items. You're going to drag that onto here and just have it fill the entire screen. And then now we need a cell, which should be the right one. And we're going to do the same thing, just drag that onto our table view. Okay, so then we can add on a image. So if I type in image, we can drag this onto our cell. It's going to look a little weird, so we'll resize. And you can also drag the cell that you're working with down so that it fits right. So I'm going to drag this till it lines up. And then I'm going to drag a label on as well. I'm going to stretch it out so that it fills the entire screen. Is everyone good so far? So what I did is, if you were here last time, I have my root view controller and I have my view on top. So I dropped a table on top of that view saying, now when I call this, there should be a table, and I dropped a cell on top of the table. And right now we're setting up the UI for that particular cell. So if we say, hey, we want 8 of those, it's going to have 8 with image, like with an image view and a label. And we can change each one based on the index that we're given.
Does this not work on the little Xcode?
Xcode 8, what do you mean?
It says Storyboard not loading on
Xcode 7?
Xcode. Below Xcode,
Yeah, open up the XML. Actually, I'll have to fix that.
I'm just changing the label so that it reflects what it is, which is the movie name. And if you ever want to change any settings of the specific item, you go here on the top right, click on this little arrow thingy, and it has like the text, the color, the font, and everything, if you want to format stuff.
What is that called? The parameter section.
It's the attributes inspector, actually.
That was the attributes inspector. Yeah.
What's parameters? I mean, if y'all have any troubles, like, feel free to reach your hands. Like, that's different. What are you doing? Showing them the list. Like, if you were to go in there, it's like the settings. What are you gonna see?
So when we when we finish everything out, what it's gonna do is it's gonna get the data of the movie from the API, and it's gonna load each individual cell with that information. Like this is just one cell right here.
So like it's like the mail apps,
Right, yeah, like each row that you have, that's a table view, yeah. Like the main way that iOS apps are built are with table views and collection views. Table views are like the cells that you see moving up and down, while collection views are like you see boxes of things and you like can swipe horizontally or vertically. But that makes up the majority of pretty much all iPhone apps.
Just go to the extra XML, make sure that it switches over to 7, not 8.
Okay.
Okay. So now that we have that, we need to make a file that corresponds to our table view cell, and we have the view controller file that corresponds to our movie view, or to our view controller. So if I go to the main.storyboard and I click on this view controller, there's this little yellow circle, and click on that. And over here on the right, you'll see something that looks like a driver's license. It's called the ID tag. So identity inspector. And at this little drop down, we can switch it. So on view controller, which is what I want. So I'm going to add in a new file for the table view cell. iOS Cocoa Touch class. And I'm going to go to UITableView cell. I'm going to call it movie table view cell. I'm going to hit next, and I'm going to put it in this project. So now you should see the movie table view cell right here. Did I do that quick? Yeah, okay. So I go File, New, File, and then iOS Cocoa Touch class. Next, make sure you're on a UI table view cell, and then you can name what you want. I named it movie table view cell, and then I hit next and done.
So when you hit next, it prompts you to create it, right?
Yes.
And you create it like right there in the workshop 2 start folder. Yeah, like save it there. Okay. Yeah, just save it there.
Okay. So we have to connect this file to our cell. So if I go back to Storyboard, I click on the cell itself. So if I see over here on the far left, I have the table view cell. And then I can go to the ID, and I can say, hey, it's going to be of type movie table view cell. So now this file and this Storyboard object are connected. Okay. So I'm going to copy this name, and we also have to give it an ID. So if I go to the attributes thing, which is right next to it, for the reuse identifier, what did you? Yes. Make sure you have, like, see over there how it says like movie table view cell is selected?
Yeah.
You got it? Okay. So link the file and that cell. Yeah, switch it. Sorry, here, I'll go back. There's the class, and then like you should have 2 options. So I chose movie table because that's the one we made. And then attributes, which is the button right next to the little down arrow thing. The identifier, you want to make the same as it's usually good practice to make it the same as the class name. This is how in our code we're going to know which cell we're working with. I mean, Nikhil, if you want to, you can just make it real quick for Xcode 7.
Is it just AF networking?
Yeah, it's just AF networking. Yeah, and then just a basic table view with cell on top. Okay, so we should see no warnings. Everything went away. We're good. So I'm going to start connecting these objects to their corresponding file. So in this top right, you see this little double circles. That means that we're going to open 2 files at the same time. So if I click on that, you should see this. So the double files in the top right, or the double circles in the top right. And if I go to automatic, I should be able to switch between the cell and the view controller. Make sure you have an item inside of the cell selected. That way you can actually switch between the two files. It only shows movie table view cell. Okay. That's what you want. Yeah. So now, if you were here last time, I talked about outlets. So outlets are just reference variables to particular objects in Storyboard. So we have our file, which contains a series of outlets just connecting to those objects. So I hold down Control, click on the object, and I can drag into the file, and I can let go, and it'll say, yes, I want a type of outlet, and I can say movie name label. You should drag it to the top because we want to have a global variable. So right there. And we're going to do the same for the UI image view. So hold down Control and drag.
Is there any consequences if I delete the line of code?
Yes, if you delete the object after you dragged it, you also have to delete the connection from Storyboard. Otherwise, the app won't run because it thinks that there's a link that it doesn't exist.
What is that error called?
Thanks, Takashi. Usually you'll get this class is not key code compliant, and therefore it will be errored out. So inside of the file, are you inside the? Okay, yeah. So open terminal, make sure you're there. Type pod in it.
Pod.
No. CocoaPods isn't on it. Sudo gym install CocoaPods. I mean, you have your laptop, right, Nikhil? Do you have your? Yeah. No. Never mind. I forgot. I don't think I gave you push access to the repo. Okay. Does everybody have these two links set up? Yes. Okay. So now I have to set up go back to single view. And I have to say that this view controller that I'm working with can work with my table view. So, actually, I gotta connect the table view. So go back to double. Click on your table view. Control drag the table view to the top of our view controller file. Name it table view. Yeah, make sure you're on automatic instead of manual. You want to go help him real quick, Nikhil? Yeah. I think he linked the ID of movie table view cell to the view controller.
Control, drag it, and see what control drag it. It's like a cell element, it's going to happen. So that's why the cell has its own class. And then you can just duplicate the cell. We all good?
Yes.
I have a warning here
is a format table cell must have reviews identifier. So it was this cell. This is the reason identifier. It's just the same as
That's just like the tag of the cell, so we know which one it's at. Okay. So, what's up? Okay. So now that's set up, we have to say that our view controller can work with the table view that we put. So there's two things you need to add up top: UITableView delegate and UITableView data source.
Can you do this in the
This is in the view controller. Yeah, inside the UI view controller. Although you can if you want to. If you wanted to have a table view inside of a table view cell. I mean, they have collection views inside of table view cells a lot. That's how the whole App Store works.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Wait, I did what? Yeah, so I just went up here to the view controller. Yep, and I typed UITableView delegate and UITableView data source. So it's saying that this view controller is going to conform to two protocols, the delegate and the data source. So a protocol is like an interface in Java, which is a collection of collection of similar methods and variables that we can use to connect two objects like a handshake.
What happens when it's view controller is not conforming protocol? Well, that's fine.
That's fine right now. Yeah, we haven't done that yet.
See, well, that one we're gonna fix that right after.
Yeah.
You got some-
Okay. So inside of this view did load, you're going to say tableview.delegate equals self and tableview.dataSource equals self. That means that the delegate, so this file is going to drive what the table view does, and all the data for the table view is going to be coming from this file. So it's pretty much saying like, hey, this table view is going to rely heavily on the file that we're using right now, view controller. Oh yeah, there's still a couple more things to do. So you have to add two more methods. You have to add number of rows in section, and you have to add cell for row at index path.
What if I forget those two? Is there another way to find out like what are the required methods?
Yes, so if you hit command, no, it's command. Yeah. You can see the optional methods that we need to do, and we see the required ones that we need to do. So command brings you to the class descriptions of every object that Apple has. So if you ever get confused, you can either command click on any object, or you can Google Stack Overflow, why does my table view not conform to protocols? So for right now, let's just return 5 rows. And for here, we have to do something like let cell equals table view dot dq reusable cell with identifier. We can just use this one. This one's just the basic string. And then we can pass in the name of the identifier that we gave the cell. So we gave it movie table view cell. And we have to cast it as that particular object type. and then we can return that cell. Yeah. Yeah. There's another method we can use that makes everything more accurate called TableView.dequeue, the second one with the index path. These are the two options. The first one will work, but the second one is more accurate because it takes in an extra parameter, which is the path on the table view. It's an exclamation point. It just means that we're explicitly casting this as the type of the file, like the file we created. So that way we can, as we change that file, we can change the, like this will use that file. Okay, so if I go up here to iPhone 5S, make sure I'm on the 5S, and I hit run, which is the giant play button to the top left. Should build everything. It'll take a second for the simulator to load. They're stomping their feet. Yeah, they have an event up there. Yeah.
It says like code highlighted. Oh, so make sure the cell is good. Yeah. Oh, zero string. So that's the. Yeah, exactly. Make sure it's in. Make sure you cast it as
But if I go back real quick, I'll be back on this page, I promise. But if I go here, I can see that I have 5 cells, all of the type that we specified, because in the number of rows section, I returned 5.
Why did you return 5?
Just a number. Yeah, it was the first thing that came to my head. Okay, I'm going to add another attribute at the top here. Var movies. And it's going to be of type NS dictionary. And it can be optional. So it's saying, hey, this can be empty or not.
Wait, is that an dictionary? It doesn't look like one. It looks like an array of dictionaries.
A dictionary is an array of dictionaries.
Yeah, but that's a dictionary array, or array of dictionaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so it's not just one NS dictionary.
No, it's the right syntax.
Yeah, I know. But
Yeah, a dictionary can be an array of dictionaries.
Yeah. But you can also have just an NS dictionary.
Yes, but that only has one root, and we want multiple roots because there are multiple movies. So I'm going to leave this for an NS dictionary for right now.
What's the difference between dictionary and dictionary?
So NS dictionary is back with Objective-C. It's still kind of lingering around. Apple and Swift 3 just pushed to drop all NS prefixes. But essentially, they're pretty much the same thing.
So you can use dictionary in Swift 3?
Yes. Yeah, they dropped all the NS prefixes. So there's no longer like NS URL session, it's just URL session.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it the same data type?
It can be. Yeah. Usually the non-NS prefixes Like they can be any object, so they can implicitly have a type, but yeah. Okay, so now that we have that, let's change this number of rows per section to be something different. Let's have it be, we can say if let count equals movies dot count, and notice the question mark, meaning that if it's not nil, then it fills that value, but if it is nil, then it'll skip the if statement. So if it has a count, then we return that count, else we're just going to return 0. So we'll say like, hey, if our dictionary is empty, then we'll just have no cells on the screen. But if it has values in it, then it'll have cells. So if I run this, we should see nothing.
Or it's not even delete. It's not even to delete the question mark.
Did you put the question mark up here?
Oh, for that. Yeah, yeah. Telling him to add arguments after the type and construct the value of the type, or use .cell to reference the type object.
Dot cell. So he's inside of self.
Cell.
Oh, dot self. I mean, yeah, you can use self dot
Yeah, you're good.
movies dot count. Yeah, you should be fine.
You could does movie count equal to null?
Yeah, you can do that too.
That's all right. So it's when you made that, like just do so just type it in.
Okay, so the next step is go back to the website that you pulled from, and inside the README, which is right here, just copy this entire method, and I'll explain what it does in a second. And then we'll just drop that right there. So it's on the website that you downloaded the base project from. Inside the readme.md, the entire method right there. Just copy that method. And drop that in the project. So what this does is it takes our API key. It has an endpoint, which we're looking for the movies that are now playing. We have our base URL string. So MovieDB, movies, and then the type we want, and then we give it our API key. And we say, hey, here's our request. Our session that we're going to use is the basic default session. It has no delegate. And we're going to work on the main queue because that's what touches the UI. We're going to create a task based on that request. And that request is going to give back a dictionary, give back a response, and we're going to try to cast that response as an NS dictionary. And if it works, then we're going to take our movies object that we created and take that response, cast the response as a dictionary, and give it to the movies object. So this is pretty much taking everything from that website as its JSON, as its dictionary, and setting that to our variable so we can work with it. And then we have to reload the table. Scroll up.
The function as its top edge of the string is not used.
There we go. What's up? Yeah.
Yeah, what else? It's saying that NS Dictionary has no member count.
NS Dictionary now?
Yeah.
Well, is there an array or like brackets around it?
Yeah. There you go. That's what it is. Yeah, it's he usually does the equals. There we go. Good.
But imagine like once in Java we were putting doubles and it was writing at this weird number because we were putting doubles.
Is that what you gave
the case.
Oh,
Oh shit.
yeah.
Just a couple of days. It was so hard to find that.
Yeah, we got a meeting here. It's actually kind of starting right now.
It's 6:15. All right, 7.
Yeah, it's a.
It's just 7 to 5.
I thought I had till 7:20.
Oh, 7 when?
7:20.
Yeah, we have this reserved at 7.
Check the registrar real quick.
Did you say until 7:10?
Yeah, we can do 7:10 real quick.
20? Yeah, we usually start at 7, like right on the dot. I don't know why they gave out information until 7:20. They told us 7. Like,
All right, can you give us like 5 minutes?
What's the last thing that you did?
The last thing that I did? 7:05. Okay.
So it's going to be
This is the last thing I think. I just copied the method over and put it here. What's up? Oh, that's just from the website. It's in the README. Okay, we good then?
Yeah. Well, they're going to check.
Okay. So
Copy that into.
yeah, you just copy that and you drop it in the view controller file.
So you want us to do there? So I guess we go through it.
Yeah, we can move real quick. Yeah, so put that method in there. Sorry guys, we're gonna have to move real quick because I guess the registrar messed this up.
Yeah.
Can you scroll up?
Yeah, it's like super, like,
Your function
very intuitive.
it's in a different function.
And then, like,
This is its own separate function. You know what's called?
just be careful when you close the things. Like, if I just actually get this text here, that's no, it doesn't move to this. So you have to make sure, because there's like a paper for us to do like this code, that this element is something, so if this just disappears, it's like, and then, oh, sorry. So that's something that,
Yeah.
this is right here. So you just want to make sure that it's something. Anyone else need help?
Did he catch you up? Close? No? Nice.
Oh, this has to be inside of that view book. Yeah, it's just like floating. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, view to load's one of our lifecycle methods. You have view to load, view will load, view will appear, view did appear, and it's just they're called at certain times, like throughout the particular page's life. So if you want to do an animation, you would put it in view did appear because that's when you know the view is on the screen and the user can see it. When you want to do like a network call, you do it in view did load because you know that the view is loaded, it just hasn't appeared yet, so you want to make your call real quick. So while we're waiting for everyone to be good, I'm just going to leave this up for another second. Does someone want to scroll to any other part? Yes.
How can I remove the link?
The links?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I can show this real quick. So if you want to remove a link that you have, like if you set up an outlet and you don't want that out anymore, you can just delete the code here and then go to the storyboard. Click on the object that you have a link to. There's this little arrow top right up here, and it'll show you all the outlet connections you have. You can just click on the X and delete them. As if you want to delete an outlet that you made by accident. Okay. So if you made too many extra, then you can delete the ones that you don't need. We good? Okay. So now that we have this network call set up, we can say cell dot. That's fine. I didn't want to open that anyway. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, you finally got to choose me. Yeah. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah. So cell dot. There it is. Name label dot text. Oh, I have to add one more thing real quick. So to say let movie equal movies, which is our array of dictionaries, and index path dot row. So that means that that index of the array is the particular corresponding to that particular cell. So cell.movie name label dot text equals the movie, and we are looking for the title of the movie as a string, or we can just see if it'll cast it automatically. No, it will not. And we can say, let's see, what is it? Oh, let's import. Let's run this right now. Actually, we'll run this.
Can you go back to your it says
No subscript.
yes.
Okay. Do this. And make sure that there's an exclamation point right here for movies. Which means that we're just forcibly unwrapping it so that we know that we're working with that particular type. Because right now, otherwise it's it could be anything.
Oh, no, no. Wait. Don't make it stay on. So it's basically just like, because for the JSON file, it's not really sure what's coming in. So this is just basically like, okay, let's make sure it's not actually do It's just like when you're doing the for the count, like count equals one count, like just making sure that that's possible. What is it?
So how does this statement differ from the previous one?
These two if statements?
No, the that title is like you write something without the
Any other questions here?
What do you mean? I have two if statements. I have this if statement and this one.
the second one, yes.
This just says like, hey, if movie, like if the attribute inside the JSON, like title, is not nil and it can be casted as a string, then I fill it in this variable called title, and then inside of that I can work with the title. If it is nil or it can't be casted as a string, it just skips the if statement. Yeah, it's equivalent to saying like if movie title is not nil and movie title is string. Yeah, it's just Swift's way of like shorthanding it.
So if you just write cell.movie name label text is equal to movie.
It's same thing.
But
It just hits.
it will raise an error,
Yeah, it could, because it could raise an error if it's nil. Yeah, this is just make sure it's safer.
It says, oh, right.
Yes. Takashi.
Still like that.
Do you want to do that, Nikhil?
Oh. Can you go to where it says do network calls?
Yes.
So no, like from you, like.
Oh, where I called it?
Yes. It's giving me user one result that identifies the network call. Just drag them, make sure drag them to the table view cell. Anybody else see now?
Like I just make lines here.
Do that for that and then do it for the
Things also.
then other file.
I'm gonna do the same thing I did here. Change this to poster path. Yeah, it's really bad.
One semester and they never taught it again because it was so hard. So I code that as something that they did
signed up for it?
I thought they said they had like senior engineers that wanted it, and they have no space for it.
Really? Wait, Nick.
Huh.
Did not people from CodePad?
For iOS?
You know what I mean?
For iOS? Or for the thing this fall?
Fall? Did you do the Silicon Valley internship?
Is that the one you applied for?
It was no, I got it. There's something by.
Hey. Okay. So make sure to add this section right here. So it's gonna check like, hey, is there a path for that poster? And if there is, then we take our base URL, we append the poster URL, and then we have the full link that we can call to grab that image. So let's see. I can go, so if I go to here. Format not supported.
Could you move down? Yeah, so it's just wait, let's see. So whenever it's a circle, that's a where is it? Why is
It's starting next week.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah,
The iOS is starting
in spring.
but this is a prerequisite.
Big. So let it.
Although if you can't get in this fall, then you can get in the spring.
There you go.
Oh, now?
Yeah, you just have to take, they give you a little bit harder hacker rank challenge, you just take it earlier. So you can take it in the spring.
Right, like most have to give data structure algorithms.
Have you not? Are you familiar with data structures?
Probably. But I do get your argument.
Yeah, if you, when are you taking it?
No, like I haven't, like I didn't sign up for this.
I know, no, when are you taking data structures?
When?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Just whenever? Yeah, so this spring, yeah, but I mean, this spring, since you want to do the iOS course, then we can work something out.
Yeah, so you want to do this when the spring comes out.
So we could apply for the spring, right? Because I was like reading the same and when I saw like all those instructions and stuff, I'm just taking my first programming class. I was like,
Yeah, you can still apply for spring. You'll just get like a hacker rank challenge, and it'll take you a little bit, and you just have to finish it. As long as you get more than half, you should be fine. The idea is that like for the why they give the data structures is because they want you to do well on interviews if you get like a technical interview. That's the only reason. Does everybody have this part up there?
I get a reward today.
I'm not ready.
Nikhil?
I just.
Takashi?
I don't know if I should really try.
No, one back.
You should probably run it. It will probably show the
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You haven't we haven't done that part yet, so you should be fine. It's just the warning for post URL hasn't been used yet.
I use base URL right here.
The post URL.
Oh, poster URL. Yeah.
Yeah, because that hasn't been used.
It hasn't been used yet. So we want to be able to call that particular URL to grab the image. So we can use a handy framework that's the reason we're doing CocoaPods, is this AF networking framework. And if I pass in the poster URL, so cell.movie image view dot image or dot set image with, and give it the poster URL. Unwrapped. There you go. So if I run this, I'm going to leave the page just for a quick second. I should see. There they are. Yeah, right. There's all the movies that are in theaters right now.
God, this is a terrible season for movies.
Yeah. So
Can you go up when you imported the?
make sure you import AF networking up top.
Yeah, 'cause-
It's on the website.
yeah. So on the website, copy that.
Yeah, so if I go to UF iOS workshops, it's right there in the README.
So, let's see.
You're saying no such module
Command clean, command build.
So it's being,
It seems like it's
could you go back to the other images there?
Inside view controller, just make sure you're inside that class, but anywhere, it's its own method. Yeah. What command R? Yeah.
you need to get all the dimensions that you need to keep clear.
So did anybody run it? Did they see the images and everything? Cool. So if you are interested in how to do this efficiently, I have the final code up. It has this method, and it also has the ability to cache images into objects, which is a very common thing for iOS interviews. So that's also on the GitHub. That's in the final project. So I'll upload this as well, but this is the end of the workshop because you guys have a full connection to MovieDB. Yay!
Wait, if I want to keep working on this, what could I do?
You could try to clean up. So check your JSON, like the object you return, and see if you see what other things they give you. They give you a movie description. They give you ratings. They give you a lot of stuff, so you can clean up the UI, add more to be seen. Let's see, what else? You could add a descriptions page. So if you click on the cell, it brings you to a new page which describes that particular movie. And then you could always, if you want to go way into asynchronous calls, you can cache images based on the URL.
If you just go to the URL and type robots.txt, it will give you like what all JSON it gives.
Yeah.
That works too. Yeah. Yeah. There's Chrome extensions too that you can just check it out easy. Yeah.
Is there like an example of like what a good app, like a completed app with this database looks like a GIF?
Yeah, I can show you. Yeah, I do. I think this one's better. Yeah. So this should be like a good version. Hold on. Aha. So you can see that you can heart stuff. You can search. You can switch between different views. I guess, yeah, I think I clicked on one in a second. Yeah, pull to refresh so you can call from the API again. Yeah, there you go. You can do it on split screen. So that's if you wanted to go further, you could do something like that.
You made another one? You made a tab bar controller that went to a collection?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my god. Wait, you actually?
That's when we didn't even learn.
Yeah.
Oh, you pushed it all the way too. How'd you push it all the way and keep the tab
Look at
bar
that.
Don't worry about it.
On TikTok.
Don't worry about it.
All right. Thanks, guys, for coming out. Hopefully, I'll see you at the next one too.